3, 2, 1, crack. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, you know that sound means it's time for another episode of A Beer and Review.
So pour it high and let it gleam. This is the podcast, Sip and Dream. Stay for the fun, we've got more to do. Oh yeah, it's A Beer and Review.
Come one, come all. Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Lane Good, for episode 124 of A Beer and Review, Sydney Beer Co. Lager and Crime 101. And I'm joined by my two best buds, Keith Fuchs.
Howdy, boys.
And Luke Walker.
Hey, guys.
Let's start, as we always do, gentlemen, with our ceremonial swig. To you guys in the world, I say cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
God, that's a beautiful, beautiful start to the episode. Lucas, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing this week, my friend?
I'm doing quite well. It's been a couple weeks now since I've been on. I was absent, as the audience will know. I was absent from our last episode. I just didn't have it in me, boys. I have to apologize to you. I would like to once I don't know, you tell me when, I'd like to quickly just give my thoughts on Armageddon, because that was an episode I was very much looking forward to, but I'd been up since about 5:30 a.m. that day. We got started real late, and I was asleep before the record button was pressed by the two of you gentlemen that night. I think part of it might have been the jalapeno margarita that you had made me earlier that evening. I don't know that helped my cause, but
yeah, but pretty good margarita, huh?
It was very good. Yeah,
very
good. All of that aside, tonight I am wonderful. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to talk about this movie.
Can't wait. Mr. Keith Fuchs, how are you, my friend?
You know, boys, I'm doing quite well. Lucas, great to have you back. As someone who has missed a good number of episodes myself, I cannot shame you for missing. No shame in this game.
It's unfortunate that I missed an episode that I had watched the movie and bought the beer. So now I just have 6 of those beers. I haven't drank
the one thing that I will say. Not only did you have the beers, you got the last 6-pack, which meant that
I deprived you of the beers. Yeah.
And when it should have probably been the other way around, but so be it. I'll have to come over to your house at some point, or you come to mine, or we meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And I grab a milk stout from you.
Yep. NBA playoffs are going now, so maybe we'll get together over a playoff game.
Maybe bring him to our dinner next week.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, I am also doing well. Happy Saturday. Doing a lot of home ownership stuff, digging up roots and just all kinds of things. So that's been fun, but I've worked hard all day, and having a beer with you boys and the audience at large will be the best part of the day. So good to be with you both. Again, this week we watched Crime 101, and we are drinking the Sydney Beer Co. Lager. Before we get too much into that, we need to know what you boys have been watching. Lucas, you teased Armageddon, so let's dive into that. Give me your thoughts and what else you've been watching.
So yeah, obviously Armageddon, I didn't get to talk about it. I will say at one point in my life, there was maybe like a year-long stretch where I would have said Armageddon was my favorite movie when I was like 9 years old. And then I saw Gladiator when I was like 10 years old, and that changed my life, obviously. Had been probably about, whatever that 17 years or so since I've seen Armageddon. It doesn't hold up that great. It holds up okay in some ways, in some respects. In some ways, it's just quite bad. The cast holds up. The cast is incredible. The acting is, the effects are pretty brutal. The story itself, kind of fine, not bad. Kind of similar to some other things we've watched. Like, it wasn't all that dissimilar from like Project Hail Mary and I don't know. I'm also watching Landman, so it was like kind of had some Landman vibes to it, both with Billy Bob Thornton and just like drilling for oil. Those guys were oil drillers. It's a fun movie to watch, but it's not a good movie. I think that I would have given it a 6.3. What did you guys give it?
That is pretty low for you, Lucas. Let me pull it
Yeah.
up really quick.
I'm
You
trying
hit
to-
on a lot of the same. Well, Lane's looking up our scores. You hit on many of the themes that we discussed.
One theme I will say, and one thing that definitely boosts it, peak hot Liv Tyler. Oh my gracious.
Another,
we also hit on
another
that.
subject we touched
Yeah,
on. Yes.
We didn't hit that, but we hit on that.
right. Yeah. She man, not many peaks are higher than that peak in just like our lifetime, you know.
That's
But
when you're on Everest,
a
huh? We're not
peak
Rushmore.
and then Lord of the Rings, and then basically nothing. So you know.
Right, but in Lord of the Rings, I mean, not that elves aren't hot or can't be hot, because clearly elves can be hot, but like she's an elf, you know, and then like in this, she's just like a hot woman, which I like better than elves. You know, that's just me. That's me, and not everyone has to agree
Each
with
their
me.
own.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Keith gave Armageddon a 6.8. I
Okay.
gave it a 5.8.
Okay, so yeah, we were all kind of in the same ballpark. Yeah.
Yep. Anything else you've been watching?
So I have finished Landman now, the 2 seasons of Landman. I fucking love Landman. The second season's a lot different than the first. Like, not much happens in the second season. It's more just like about the characters and their life, and like not as much serious stuff is going down. Some stuff goes down for sure. But it's so much fun. It's a hilarious show, great show. Season 3 will be highly anticipated. And then last night I watched myself a classic, boys. And I forgot how much of a classic it was. I don't think I had seen it since the original time that I had watched it. And that is Whiplash.
Oh my God, yes.
Wow.
Whiplash is unbelievable.
Yep.
That's
JK
one that I've been wanting to rewatch.
Yeah, J.K. Simons, I believe it's Simons, right?
Simmons.
Not Simmons. Is
I
it
thought
J.K.
it was
Simmons?
but I
Okay,
don't know.
J.K. Okay, we'll go with J.K. Simmons. Just throwing 102 mile an hour fastballs. The entire
Miles Teller
movie.
catches them though too. He's doing pretty good.
Oh, for sure.
They
No,
got a good back and forth.
for sure. But J.K. is just, I mean, every scene absolutely just bringing untouchable heat. I mean,
Yep.
I was another buddy in a different group chat had brought it up like a week or two ago, which was what kind of sparked my rewatch. And I was just texting a few lines here and there from it, and it's just like, you know, he's berating one of the guys because he doesn't remember the songs from, you know, off the top of his head, and he's like, it's a medical condition. He's like, a medical condition? What are you, Sanjay fucking Gupta? There's so much good shit. He's like, get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
It's kind of like Marty
everything.
Supreme, that
Oh my
Crest for
God.
Greatness, and that's such a better movie than Marty Supreme.
Mhm.
Keith, what have you been watching, my friend?
You know, it was a pretty light week. We had some NBA play-in featuring Steph Curry, so I spent 2 nights watching that. One that was just fucking fantastic, one that was not. So we didn't really watch much. My wife and I started a new Netflix show last week. I will admit she's more into it than I am, but it's pretty funny. The first episode was funny. The ones since have been okay. It is featuring the son from Schitt's Creek. It's called Big Mistakes.
Dan Levy? Or...
Dan Levy, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So he's pretty funny in it. He plays a pastor, which is interesting. But yeah, that's about it. Nothing exciting on my watch list this week.
Well, I'll say nothing exciting on my end because the movie that I watched, I don't know what year this came out, but it's a movie called Nebraska. And it is a black and white movie starring Bruce Dern, who I think is Laura Dern's dad, and Will Forte. And the premise of the movie is the dad and the son, right? The dad gets this like spam mail that says, "Oh, you've won $1 million. Come collect your prize," and you get, whatever. And it's obviously fake, but the dad is just like locked in on it. So the son drives the dad down, and there's, it's a bonding trip, and a bunch of things happen along the way. And it's just a heartfelt journey between a father and a son. And my God, was it an amazing movie. So even though I had to watch Crime 101, I also got a little something for me, Nebraska.
Wow. Sounds like something I don't want to watch.
You got to watch Crime 101, I think.
Yeah.
Is what you had meant to say there.
So now I teased it. Let's dive in. Crime 101, directed by Bart Layton. This is his third full-length movie. His first one was a movie called The Imposter, which is the documentary I watched when it came out years and years ago. It was on Netflix about a full-grown man who was like from a foreign country, and he like does some kind of face surgery and makeup and hair and stuff, and disguises himself as a missing boy from Texas or some shit, and crosses the border and pretends to live this life with this random family. It's a crazy documentary. The Imposter, do recommend. So he also directed this movie, Crime 101, starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan, and Nick Nolte. Shout out to Money. Came out in this year of 2026. This is a new flick, rated R, with a runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes. You guys ready for the story?
Let's do it. Oh, let's talk beer.
Okay, let's talk beer. This is the Sydney Beer Co. Lager. I mentioned it a few times. I'm just going to read you just on the back here, just because it kind of gets me going. It's a little bit. As the sun dipped behind Sydney Harbor, a couple of mates pondered, why isn't there a world-class lager from our world-class city? So they set out to craft one using only the finest Australian hops and ingredients. The result, the cold beauty you are now holding. If this can is in your hand, you have great taste. At least in lager, you're more social, less media, more IRL than email, and you enjoy a drink to make new memories shared with your mates who are the most important to people to you, even the unreliable ones. I guess they're shouting at you last week, missing the episode, Lucas.
That's fucking mean.
If this is in your hand, you're either celebrating, commiserating, or it's just Tuesday. So go ahead, crack open some liquid sunshine, or maybe a few. We promise you'll only be thinking, how good it this. How good it this is what it says.
Mine says, is this?
Yeah.
It does say that on the box.
On the box. It says
it
this.
The box, correct on the can.
Well,
we got some interesting things to discuss about this brew, and I can't wait.
Cheers to you, my mates.
Cheers.
My mates.
I will go ahead and guess the connection to the movie.
Oh yeah, hit me with it.
I assume it's because our boy here, Chris Hemsworth,
actor,
is an Aussie.
Yep, absolutely nailed it. And I'm trying not to get IPAs for you. Yep.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So we just mentioned it. We do have Chris Hemsworth in this movie. He is playing what we are going to name Mike. Mike is a diamond thief looking for his big payday so we can walk away to a life of peace. Mark Ruffalo plays Lou, an underachieving police officer convinced that the robberies near the 101 freeway that are all nonviolent are connected. Halle Berry plays Sharon, an 11-year high-end insurance broker looking to make partner. All three find their lives intertwined over a $5.5 million diamond exchange for a wealthy wedding couple. Spoilers, we're going to jump ahead here because, again, beer and review where the movies are spoiled and the beer is fresh. I'm going to find a way to get that in better eventually. In the third act, we find our thief and cop both in disguise and unaware of each other's true identity, somehow being couriers in this multi-million-dollar jewel exchange. The thief Mike then begins robbing, and midway through, the cop pulls a gun, and we've got a two-man standoff, right? And then, out of nowhere, Barry Keoghan's Orman, a lunatic, barges into the room, and the intensity gentleman cranks up to 11. Orman has two guns, one pointed at Mike, the other pointed at the cop, and then the cop's pointing the gun back at Orman, right? And it's like the big, heavy standoff. And then somehow, out of nowhere, Chris Hemsworth just shoots the guy, and it's like, oh, this is fucking crazy. And then it ends with the cop all of a sudden letting the thief Mike go. The cop steals the diamonds and gifts them to Sharon. And that's the movie.
There's a whole lot more that happens.
Mhm.
We get a bunch of different robberies or multiple different jobs. There's a love interest that you didn't mention.
Yeah.
Uh, there's just the whole sordid past of Mike, aka James or whatever. He's got different names. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot. I disagree with your statement that that's the movie because there's a lot more to it. It's also very long. It's also a very long movie.
Yeah, 2 hours and 20 minutes, very long. But I wanted to save that for the discussion because
sure,
we got a lot to get into. But I do want to ask you. So, like I said, I kept it surface level there. This is the flight. We're at about 10,000 feet. We're about to crank up the altitude here. So, Keith, I want to ask you first. Out of everything in the world that this movie did, what is the one thing that you think that this movie did the absolute best?
The absolute best?
Like not out of other movies, but like what is the best part about this movie?
I get your question.
Acting? Probably not.
I mean, it's
music.
I like the plot. The idea of the plot is good.
Okay, there we go. That's good enough for me. The idea of the plot is
also
good.
your metaphor of we're at 10,000 feet. I would say we're getting on the on ramp to the freeway. We're on the on ramp.
We're on the 101. Okay, that's a better.
Merge.
Okay, I like that.
That's more fitting for the movie.
There you go, Lucas. What does this movie do best?
So, I will have more to say about this, or kind of like expand and maybe branch off on this, but I like the procedural aspects of this movie, right? The procedure of the jobs, the learning, like especially like the first one, right, where he stops on the thing and throws his hazards on, and then gets behind and like gets the guy's phone and whatever and puts him in the trunk, and then he follows and texts, "I'm here," like his ability to kind of set up the job, and like the way that it teaches us how he has set the job up, and then going through the procedures of each job. That is the best part about this movie.
I'll agree with that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think the best part of the movie, I think it does a good job of putting you in LA. I think we get a lot of shots of the city. I think we get a lot of shots of we get one of the Ferris wheel, the people, we get a lot of people who are living literally with ocean views. Yeah, we get a lot of that. So I think I'm not one
a very LA movie city. For sure.
Yeah, I'm not really good at picking that up because I don't care what city it's in, but this made it pretty obvious and it just gave a good LA feel. Are you ready to jump into the beginning of the movie so we can start really diving in here? Are you ready for some Lane Love's first scenes?
Oh, I'm ready.
Beautiful. I don't want to say this is a bad opening scene, but it's an interesting opening scene. It starts with what we find out is a yogi. Breathe in, breathe out, be in touch with your soul, all that kind of stuff. And we get a blurry upside down view kind of rotating in to our city, LA, that I was mentioning. And we get shots of all three characters. We get Chris Hemsworth being kind of meticulous freak that he is. He's rubbing off all his body hair and skin cells. We get Halle Berry looking at her phone.
The procedure stuff I love, just all that preparation stuff. Yeah.
We get Halle Berry not sleeping and looking at her phone score. And it's like, you got a 27 sleep score. And if you're going to get one of those rings and you have a bad sleep score, you're just waking up the next day feeling shitty about yourself. Don't have that. And then we get, who's the other guy? Mark Ruffalo, looking not so great. Looks like a pretty bachelor pad, hungover. He's got a mustache. He just looks terrible. Everyone with a mustache. I'd say it's an okay.
That's unbelievable. Opening. Just catching strays all over this
podcast. Let's touch on this now. Did you do the mustache in honor of Ruffalo and his mustache for this episode, Lucas?
No, I've been rocking the mustache pretty consistently for the last like
You haven't had it in a bit.
two
Though,
two to
so.
3 years. Yeah, I haven't really had it as prominent since I shaved my head, but it is a part of my identity, and it is probably the most important part of my personality. And so I hate that Lane is just being a dick.
Well, I looked right at it, and that's what made me say it. But again, I'd say it's an okay opening. I think it's just we get the characters, we get a little snippet of them, but we don't hear any of them talk. There's no, I don't know, the music's not great. Why a yogi talking over it? Why, that seems a little strange. I thought it was okay. Nothing too crazy. I felt like it was weird that it kind of drags on. We don't really get much until about 4:30 into the beginning. It felt like, when we talked about one battle after another, it felt like it was hard to say when the opening stopped because it was so intense and so much stuff happened. In this, it felt like it just kind of dragged on before things started happening. It was kind of hard to pinpoint when the beginning ended.
Well, this is where we seem to consistently question your judgment of what the first scene is. Because in my view, the first scene is the entire first robbery. Like,
sure,
yes, the yogi talking over thing and them getting ready, like that's the very beginning. But the whole first scene is really him pulling off his first heist, to me.
Yeah,
which I think is an incredible scene. It's
Very
fucking great introduction to the movie. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could see both ways there.
I like to think of it people are rarely watching movies these days, and people are all on short TikTok,
I think
Instagram, and so
I
you got to
see
get people's attention.
I see where Lane's coming from, because Lane's whole thing is like in my first
few minutes,
90 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever. What does this movie do to catch my attention or do something that's unique? And so, in this one, it's like the yogi thing becomes a prominent thing throughout the movie, right? We hear that yogi voice the whole movie. There's many scenes of the characters doing yoga. Like, yoga is kind of a part of the movie, even though it's not. It's like kind of a side part of the movie, I guess. But I just kind of liked that it was just like kind of gentle, push into this movie, and not like, because we talk about it all the time now with opening scenes to movies where there's so many of them that are doing like this. Here's what happened 80% of the way into the story, and then we flash back, right? And that's like so played out. And there's just so many different like movie intros that are just super played out, and it's like it was kind of refreshing to me to just have like a kind of nothing first scene. I didn't mind that.
Nice. I think now, before we dive too much further in, I think we need to discuss the players on the board. So, Lucas, I hope you have pulled up the random number generator, because we are professionals and we've done this for 124 episodes.
Oh, I have it, bud.
Attaboy. I want to pick first, and I'm only doing this because it's funny. We usually pick numbers 1 to 50.
We definitely don't pick 1 to 50.
1 to 25.
Damn it. Well, that makes my joke less funny. I'm going to pick 53 because that's the number that Halle Berry said, and it is relevant to the movie. 53 is my
You're
pick.
probably going to be going third.
Yeah.
Keith, you go ahead.
I'll go with number 12.
I was gonna pick number 8 because there's an 8 on my glass, and so
that gives me a chance too, right?
Yeah. Let's see. No, it doesn't. Still, the number is 9, so I will be going first. Keith will be going second, and Lane will be going last. All right. I think this one for me is a pretty obvious pick, just because for the audience, we're picking characters based on no real criteria, just who we thought was like the best or most entertaining or most fun or whatever character. And so I will be taking Orman, Barry Keoghan's psychotic motorcycle riding blonde hair, or like bleach blonde lunatic thief guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
incredible character. Every time he's on screen, it's stressful and chaotic and creepy and unnerving and unsettling. He's just an absolute wild card. You kind of wonder if Barry Keoghan is really like these characters, because he kind of is playing pretty similar-ish dudes in every.
I'm glad you brought this up because I was gonna bring it up. He basically plays a fucking wild card psychopath in almost every movie.
He's always playing somebody who's not all the way there,
Yeah.
right? In some form or another, right?
Banshees of Inisherin was a much more.
That's a much more
version of it.
A simple man.
Yeah.
He's more on the simple side of things, touched, if you will. This one, he's just a lunatic, and it's amazing. Every scene he's in is thrilling because of his lunacy. So that's my first pick.
That's a good first pick. It was going to be my pick because, I was almost going to say it as a knock to him that he only plays these fucking wild cards, but he's fucking good at it because he brought some fucking fire to this movie.
He just looks such a crazy way. He's just a crazy looking person.
Yeah. So I'm going to go pretty chalk here. I'm going to go with Chris Hemsworth's Mike, aka James Davis, the main character. He's a fucking badass. He's a gentle giant, if you will, who was basically born with shit, got thrown into this life that he lives, and obviously wants to get out of it. But I liked it. I liked the way that he played the character. I thought he was a badass. I would have liked to have seen a little more badassness. I think
he's not doing like hand-to-hand combat. His badassery is all mental.
Basically no hand-to-hand combat at all. Right. It's mostly just intimidation, and then his brain plotting every one of his robberies out to a point where he knows he will not have to actually hurt somebody and still get the job done. Yep. And that's kind of his MO. But he's fucking great. I'm a big Chris Hemsworth fan, so I'm gonna roll with him.
Well, you guys left me the two best characters. I'm going to take Corey Hawkins Tillman, the partner to Mark Ruffalo. I thought he was one of the only enjoyable characters who seemed competent at their job and like a decent person, and that I enjoyed watching on the screen.
We watched a completely different movie.
Yes.
Basically, oh man, we are going to disagree for the next hour plus. I thought he brought a lighter tone to the movie. I thought he was just a realistic, fun character. Tillman was my first choice.
Would have gone undrafted on my board. You could have got him in free agency.
My next pick is Madeline, the girl who took Halle Berry's job. And the reason I picked her is because they gifted her a bottle of
undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
They gifted her a bottle of champagne, and she just got introduced to the company, and she sprayed it all over everybody. And I was like, that's pretty funny. So those are my two picks.
Terrible. Keith, go ahead.
Horrible picks. It's kind of between two. I could go really off the wall here and pick something, but I'll go with Ruffalo. He has, similar to Barry Keoghan, it seems like he's kind of getting caught in the down on his luck cop role. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you two have watched Task on HBO. I only watched the first 2 episodes, I think. I want to finish it because it's pretty good. But he's kind of the same character, down on his luck cop, trying to figure his shit out. Who has an idea, he knows he's got a bigger understanding of what's happening here, and no one else is on his level, and he's being critiqued. I do like the evolution of his character throughout. Basically, his wife is a piece of shit, and she leaves him, and then we see his transformation from the woebegone cop that's getting left behind to now he's moving to the beach, and he shaves his mustache and he starts doing yoga, and then he finally finds his fucking guy. So I did like Ruffalo, so I'll go with him. And I know, Lane, that you have thoughts on Mark Ruffalo. We'll get to that later.
Well, that leaves me with a few choices. One of those choices could be, Nick Nolte, Money, the Money Man,
Thought about that.
the guy that is kind of like how
Psychotic.
he's very psychotic, and he's how Mike basically cashes in on his robberies, right? He does the actual work, and then I guess this guy probably like sells the diamonds to some shady person,
Yeah.
and kind of sets up jobs and that kind of stuff. Psychotic, conniving, and just a good solid character. Halle Berry's Sharon would be the other obvious choice at this point. But I was a little underwhelmed by Halle Berry. I think Halle Berry is a better actress than all of the people in this movie, and just wasn't really
Her storyline was lame.
her storyline was it wasn't fully fleshed out,
Exactly.
which I think actually is going to be a theme. I'll get there. I want to have a full discussion on some of that. But so at this point in the draft, I will go ahead and take Maya, the very attractive and just wonderful girlfriend figure who, she plays an important role in the movie because it kind of highlights her relationship with Mike, kind of highlights like the darkness within him, and the just kind of strange nature of like who he is, right? And it helps to reveal his background and all that kind of stuff, and you feel bad for her because you're like, man, she deserves better. Like she deserves
Not this
somebody
loser.
who can actually like hold a conversation, and is not clearly like keeping secrets from her and going to break her heart and all these things. But she was just lovely, and so that's why she is my pick.
Good pick. She was lovely.
Good for you. So while we're at it, one of my questions: how many people in the world? Because obviously Maya is attracted to Chris Hemsworth, and so it's easy to forgive.
So how many people in the world would be
How many
attracted to
people
Chris
in the
Hemsworth?
world? No. Could be how many people in the world could have the personality of Mike in this movie, which is like we mentioned, pretty flat,
Yeah.
pretty nothing, pretty
Well, but you know what's
unfunny, or
well, what's interesting though is when he's on the job, he is quite like whatever charismatic, like he's a normal person, right? He has some interactions with people where he is like, oh, very normal. Like when he's talking to Sharon while they're
The
in the
ballet.
valet line, like he has the ability to do it, but most of the time he's just not. He only does it if he has to.
But that's
He's
the
acting.
importance of Maya's part in this movie. It shows that Mike is very awkward in real life. He doesn't
Right.
know how to act outside of his job, and she brings that out of him. Like the first date, we go to the fancy restaurant. Here's some guy over, talking about the menu and the fucking veal, whatever it was. And so she walked in and he says, "Oh, this is good." And she's like, "I'm going to leave." And then it gets him to say, "Okay, well, I've never been here. I wouldn't want to do this. Let's go somewhere else." And then they go, they have some tacos, and so she's very important to bringing him out of his shell, and developing his character for the audience and in the movie, getting him to realize that there's more out there for him.
sure. All I'm
I
saying
feel like
is
we
this
stepped on
guy.
your question though. What was your full question?
Yeah, sorry, I totally
No. That was perfect. All I'm saying is this guy is a walking red flag, and I just thought it was pretty funny that she's like, you know what,
He's
you're hot
also
enough.
very, very handsome and attractive.
Handsome.
So
That's
many
what
women
I'm saying.
would
So
definitely put up
you'd have
with
to be
that.
like,
Yeah.
so that's
Beefcake,
basically my
dude.
question.
Come
You
on.
have to be top level beefcake to have a personality like that, to pull that girl. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot of how some guys get by though. I know a lot of dudes who their entire personality is I go to the gym, right? Like I've met plenty of guys like that, and they get girls. Usually,
do.
probably doesn't last very long because at a certain point you have to have conversations with people. But
It could be about lifting.
Right.
So I think we've talked a little bit about the characters and kind of what's going on in this movie here. I think there's a lot of similarities to a lot of flicks, and I think one of the first ones that pop up, I think this is very similar to a Heat. Yes,
I would say it's the great grandson.
I would think
great grandson of a
think it's
Heath.
the bastard child who's been locked
Yeah.
in the closet.
Sure, no, it's part
It's a
part of the
branch off of
family.
that.
It's part of the family tree.
Uh-huh.
There's been several crooks in the branches since
Yeah, yeah.
Heat to get to
Some
here. Sure.
incest, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've got the cop, we've got the robber, we've got the loose cannon in Orman. We have
We've
a
got
heist
we've got the
scene.
girl who, it's like
Mhm.
the relationship can't work until the job is done, kind of thing.
Yeah. So how when you have so many things that you could get right, because it sounds like you guys are higher on this, so I'm going to shit on it a little bit here. You have so many good movies ahead of you that do this all right. Why do I feel like this is just so there's so many things that are wrong about this movie. None of it connects. Sharon Halle Berry's character is lackluster. Chris Hemsworth character is lackluster. The story for the most part is pretty lackluster. It just feels like we go from here to here to here. I don't think there's anything about this movie that I'll forget about this movie in a month. We have all these straight to streaming movies and we have all these big name actors. Boys, this movie, we're 35 minutes in. This movie was dog shit. Why is this what we're getting here? Why? It sounds like you're higher. What did you like about
Before I
this?
let Luke talk, I will agree with you a bit, Lane.
Thank you. A little bit.
A kind of a medium bit.
Okay.
Because especially after I thought the first scene was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Where we see the whole
He takes the gun, he puts it on the
a
roof. I mean, that's just all pretty
great
cool.
fucking tone. And like I said, the idea of the plot, this single robber who only robs people off the 101. He has a very particular way of doing things. The idea of it is very, very good. And then of course the idea that he wants out, he finds the girl, all the themes that we have mentioned in the last few minutes. I will agree that it was kind of haphazardly put to, especially Halle Berry's character.
Mm-hmm. And it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Like she doesn't even become a central part of this until the very end, and I don't even think that she was necessary to get
at all. We didn't need her at all.
Other than the fact that she introduces the main job.
Sure,
She wouldn't have ever found out about the main job without her, so she's kind of a key character.
Okay, but what about no one introduced the Santa Barbara job, and that still happened, and that was a key moment. That was a pivotal moment in the story.
Well, somebody introduced at some point he had information. He got the information from his little internet nerd guy that he meets at the cafe.
Love that. And I don't need 40 minutes of a character that's going to give some information. I didn't give a fuck about Halle Berry or her telling Madeline, they're going to tell you that you're going to be it one day. Like this,
I mean, I will give Berry, and they wanted to find a role for her. Is kind of what
I will give you that the movie is too long, and there was a little bit of fat that could be trimmed. But I completely disagree that the movie was dog shit. I thought the movie was pretty awesome. I don't think that it was like haphazard or pointless. I thought it all made perfect sense for the most part. Like I said, some things could have been trimmed. I think that it comes back to what I said at the beginning of like, you're talking about this movie being the kind of evolution of this type of cops versus robbers, the Heat style movie. But what this movie does is the precision of the jobs, right? And the having rules about the jobs. And
so another movie we did was The Killer. Right, that had these same kind of rules.
Pretty similar to The Killer.
Killer was so much better than this.
I don't know about that. I can't remember what I gave The Killer, but I think I liked this movie quite a bit more.
Glad you mentioned that because I did see a lot of similarities between The Killer and this one, especially at the beginning. But
especially just the.
I think it just I wanted more from the movie than I got, especially after the beginning. I think that's kind of where I will agree. I feel like we could have gotten more action.
So this is kind of leans into the conversation that I've already hinted at a couple times. I feel like this would have been better as a full season, like a TV show, like an 8-episode TV show.
I think the characters start in an interesting place. I agree that like this killer or this thief who is very meticulous and rips all, he's very like OCD and he has to live on the ocean and he's very clean and neat. I think that's all interesting. I think the Halle Berry character could have been interesting if her switch was really, I mean, it wasn't out of nowhere. She realized she wasn't going to make partner, but I just didn't care. And maybe if I would have seen her do something more, I would have been more invested in it. But I do think
well, the investment is that she cracks, right? And then she decides, oh, I'm gonna fucking steal from these people. I'm gonna set up a fucking $11 million heist because that's how much I have been screwed. I'm going to steal, I'm gonna put in motion a plan to steal $11 million in diamonds and cash at gunpoint because I've been screwed in my job. What's wrong with that? I think that's cool.
It is cool.
storyline.
We could have gotten to that point a little earlier, maybe.
I'm not disputing that there's some fat in this movie that could have been trimmed. Easily 15 to 20 minutes of this movie could have been trimmed. I mean, we could have done it in the editing room in an hour. Like, would have been no problem. But I feel like this movie had all of the makings of like a really good one season, one-off. We don't need this to be 5 seasons long, but like, every other episode there's a new heist job. It's almost Dexter-ish, right? Like where he's like planning these serial kills, whatever. Like every other episode or every third episode, he pulls off a heist, and we're building towards this bigger heist. We have some more development and drama of their relationship, right? Where she's like finding little clues about like, and trying to figure out like what, because she somehow never puts together that like, oh, he is a criminal.
No,
right? Like
everything you're saying is better than the movie that we watched for 2 hours and 20 minutes, Luke. And that's what I'm saying. Like you came up with a better story that's more interesting and intriguing than what we watched. How does she never figure this out? There's never a hint or they never get in a fight. It's just like,
and I'm not saying that this is the greatest movie I've ever seen by any stretch. And I recognize that there are some flaws, but to say it like just sucks is crazy. It doesn't suck.
That's true. Yes,
there's some scenes in this that are pretty fucking badass. It would have been nice to see it. The first heist is dope as fuck.
Yeah, and if we would have seen at least 1 or 2 more of him doing, because especially when Ruffalo is presenting to all the cops and talking about all these robberies that have happened on the 101, and we've seen one of them. It's like, okay, this guy's he's wrecking shop on this town, and we've only seen fucking one of them. Like,
which
building
again,
up a little bit more of a
reputation. Which again, if this is an 8 or 10 episode season,
it would have been a lot. I agree. I do agree with that.
Cool.
It would have been awesome as like a mini series type show. I agree.
Yeah.
So plot wise for me, I think the biggest hole and the one thing that I was a little bit caught up on and wasn't loving was, why didn't he ever go back and clean his car if he knew he bled in it?
Yep. So stupid.
That was a genuine plot hole to me, and none of the rest of the movie could have he could have prevented Ruffalo ever finding out about him.
Yep.
Like the next day, he should have been going to clean up that car.
Right. Yep. It sat there for how long? Like weeks, and he knew he bled in it. That was his whole thing. He like pulled off his mask, and he's all mad at himself. It's like, bro, no one knows where that car is. It's just a random parking garage. You could just go back there and clean the car, burn the car, do anything.
Plot hole number 2.
Just leaving it. More scenes of him pulling off these heists and seeing where he had left cars previously, and maybe he just does it every fucking time, and he has multiple cars that are fucked up like this that no one's finding, and so he's like, all right, well, they're not going to find it. I'll take care of it eventually. But yeah, that's a big plot hole. How about you get rid of the fucking car with all the evidence?
Yeah. Plot hole number 2. The car is covered in a parking garage, unnamed, and Mark Ruffalo and my man Tillman are driving, and they go, wait, stop. I see a car that's covered with a car covering. Go look at that. And they just happen to find the car.
Well, that
there was
makes
never
sense
a
because
tip.
they're going in these garages looking for anything suspicious. So
and
if you see a
they
car covered-
knew the general area because
Yeah.
they had the footage of when he cut through that parking lot and clipped that
exactly.
person.
They knew that where he had gone.
So they knew a general area, and it sounded like they had been spending a lot of time driving those blocks and driving through parking garages. They just skipped all of it and showed us,
Exactly.
the money shot, obviously, but that part didn't bother me too much.
It bothered me a tremendous amount. Lucas, you're our lawman. Is it illegal for cops to just go up and just pull up a thing like that and look at a car? Is that like a house, like entering a house? You need a warrant for that?
So there would be some Fourth Amendment questions there. A lot of it comes down to the reasonable suspicion, and the expectation of privacy is typically like the
Because it's
kind
in
of
your parking garage, you would
the
imagine.
threshold. But if this is a public parking garage, this is not. I don't know. I don't know exactly if this parking garage was attached to like an apartment complex or whatever. It seemed like public parking. So if you're in public, you have less of an expectation of privacy.
Another reason to be suspicious,
and just simply pulling up. Yeah, I think they could have defended this one on the reasonable suspicion. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't do criminal law, so
I'm not going to call this a plot hole. I'm going to call this a beef. What made? I guess not what made. Okay, yeah. What made Mark Ruffalo give Halle Berry the money at the end?
Well, so should we just do the whole end?
We need to go through the entire.
Yeah, let's just do the whole end because I do have some. I won't call them beefs.
I'll give the story a little bit better.
The entire ending.
Yeah, go through the whole final.
I'll give the story a little bit better.
Standoff, if you will.
Luke mentioned it. Halle Berry sets up this deal between a hot stud, a silver fox, and a young girl, and they're getting these diamonds for $5.5 million. That's how much the diamonds are worth. But the guy is paying in cash because he does some sketchy shit.
And her company is insuring this transaction.
Yes. So she gives the tip. Our man Mike shows up because he got this tip, right? And
this part of his whole thing is he finds
violence.
The courier for all of his jobs. He finds the courier who's carrying the jewels for every one of his jobs. So they find out Halle Berry knows who the courier is. He finds that information, so he's going to go meet him at the airport.
He meets him at the airport and takes over and pretends to be that person.
Yeah.
So Chris Hemsworth is pretending to be the courier of the money.
No, he's pretending to be the security.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Mark Ruffalo is pretending to be the diamond salesman.
The courier. Yeah.
Yeah. How did he get there?
How did he get to have the diamonds in it? Like, because they pulled the guy because she felt bad, and so she told Ruffalo the plot. So they pulled the guy off the plane and told him, "Hey, you're gonna get fucking robbed. Give me the briefcase. I'm gonna pretend to be you."
Okay. So
my biggest plot hole with this, and I don't know if you're going there, is that again, Mr. Meticulous, Mike / James Davis.
This is a good one. Yeah. I did have a question.
He knows the identity seemingly on all these jobs. He knows the identity of everyone, including the courier. So he would know who he's looking for coming off the plane to pick him up.
That's a quality. That is a genuine plot hole. He should have known that the guy who got in his car was not the right guy.
And so that's what I was expecting, especially on the drive when he's looking in the rearview mirror and Ruffalo is all nervous and tapping things and fixing his tie, and it looks like he's looking at him like.
And so, I was
a little suspicious.
I was wondering during this part if he did actually know and just didn't care because he's like, well, I'll fucking rob this guy too. It doesn't matter.
Could have been. Yeah.
And because at that point, the only thing he didn't know was that Ruffalo knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he would have had no way to know that he had been found other than maybe the weird call from his foster lady. So it's a potential plot hole.
That's
It's
in my
yeah.
eyes, that's probably the biggest plot hole of the
Yeah,
movie.
I'm kind of with you there.
You guys are right.
Okay,
there is a good
continuing.
movie
What
somewhere
happens
in there.
next? So he picks him up at the airport.
And then whatever, they're going to the sale spot, and it's a hotel room or some shit. And they go into the hotel room, and immediately when they get in the hotel room, Chris Hemsworth pulls out his gun and begins robbing. Get on the fucking ground. Hey, I hate you all. Get on the ground. I want the money and shit. And I think it's all going pretty well. And then at one point, Mark Ruffalo pulls out a gun, right? And so they're two-man standoff.
Briefcase.
Yep. And then Barry Keoghan, who threatened Sharon, right? He punched her in the face, which we don't even see. If you're gonna have a psychopath, show the psychopath punch.
Well,
a
he
woman.
tackles her in her apartment.
Sure.
That's what leads to her.
I think we saw the punch too.
Yeah. That's what leads to her admitting to Ruffalo what's happening.
Yeah. So
she realizes she's in over her head.
Yeah. Barry Keoghan has all the information. He's a psychopath, and he's a psychopath who commits a crime that is being followed on the news, and he continues to ride the same dirt bike throughout the entire movie, and it's not even caught or not even a problem.
There's a disturbing lack of police presence all throughout the city while these crimes are being committed, for sure.
Even though one of the characters is a police officer.
Sure.
And then so Barry Keoghan breaks into the door somehow because he's a stud, puts Chris Hemsworth, it puts a gun to the back of Hemsworth's head, and then takes Chris Hemsworth's gun. And so, like I said, he's doing a 2-gun thing. So he's got Hemsworth at gunpoint and the cop at gunpoint. And so it gets intense. And I do like when the rich guy who's kind of just there, it's his dime. He's like, "You're a cop, fucking shoot these guys and get away with this. Like, what are you doing here?"
Very chaotic scene. I love it.
It is. Yeah. They did
to
turn
that
it
point,
up
though, we
pretty
did
intense.
have the scene earlier where a cop shoots an innocent guy, and Ruffalo is all mad about it and doesn't want to mix up the story. We have at least established the pattern that Ruffalo.
I don't think that guy was innocent, but he was not a threat.
He didn't have
very clear.
He wasn't going to shoot anybody at that point. Anyway, continue.
And then the thing that I don't like, and Keith, we mentioned it, is there's not a lot of action. There's no hand to hand. There's no nothing. And Barry Keoghan is shot off screen. The camera's on Mark Ruffalo, and we hear a gunshot, and he's covered in blood. And you're like, "Oh, who got shot?" And it's Barry Keoghan. And the last time we saw him, he was holding a gun to Chris Hemsworth's head.
So this is where you're missing, Lane. They do show, like a couple times, they show Chris Hemsworth on the ground. The gun is right here, and Barry Keoghan's focus is all on Ruffalo, and he's like kind of pulling away because he's getting closer to Ruffalo, and Hemsworth is looking at the gun, at the gun. So he's gonna fucking grab it.
Sure, show it.
That part, that's a weak beef.
Yeah.
That's a weak beef. What's more important about this scene, and what kind of sucks a little bit, is that Hemsworth, Mike breaks his code, right? That's what's important, is that he's the non-violent guy, and now he killed somebody. So that is kind of a bummer for him, because now he's had to break his code. But then I don't know.
Then the cop feels bad for him.
That part was tough to. I'm still processing it a little bit, because it's
stupid.
It's a little stupid.
It's a little stupid.
It's a little stupid.
At the same time, because Ruffalo,
you are rooting for him to get away, though, and it's the only way that he could get away is just letting him get away. But he wouldn't
Ruffalo,
do that.
Once he got the DNA back, he knew who he was. The DNA was he sees the file of James and Mike as a kid, and then he goes and meets the foster mom, who says that he's never done anything violent. So he has sympathy for this robber. He can tell.
And also, I guess Ruffalo at this point is similar to Sharon, or to Halle Berry, disgruntled with his employer, right? He's pretty upset about the corruption within the police academy, or the police department.
No one takes him serious.
No one takes him serious. They're asking him to basically lie about that other police report, that other shooting. So he's kind of hit his breaking point of man, I've been doing the right thing the whole time, and I'm still getting shit on. Like, I've had enough of getting shit on for doing the right thing.
My wife just left me.
Yeah.
She's had multiple
So-
affairs. Yeah.
So as I talk it through, I'm less mad about him making this turn. I guess what I'm more kind of upset, not upset again.
Keep
And
the
this all
money.
could have been fleshed out in a full season of this show, but then it's just like we don't know. We don't know what happens. Does him and Maya ever speak again? Because I kind of want to see him bang. I would have loved to have seen.
That would have been a better movie.
Well,
Penetration,
I guess they
better
did.
movie.
They did bang once, but like, do they? Does it work out? Does he ever confess to her who he is? And does she accept it?
Save
Does
that
he
for the
have?
sequel.
Does he
Crime
have the money to
102.
like? Yeah. And just there was just too many obviously it's intentional that there's unanswered questions at the end of the movie. I wanted those questions answered.
Yeah.
I didn't want every question to be unanswered.
And again, why give the money to Halle Berry? She's doing very well financially.
Well,
he's probably doing less well financially, honestly.
Well, he's got $5.5 million worth of diamonds now.
There was a multiple little folders that had diamonds.
Well, and when he opened up his little,
it had
which again, why is that the way that diamonds are transported in like folded up like wax paper?
Napkin.
Like it seems like we should have some better storage for these millions.
This is kind of an overarching question on the diamond heisting world or diamond trading world in general. So one, why are they in the fucking folders and the wax paper? Two, like, all right, Ruffalo gets the diamonds. Even if he kept them,
how does he cash in?
If you stole diamonds, how are you going to cash them in?
Yeah.
What are they going to be worth?
Well, that's why you need a guy like Money, because that's what Money does.
Exactly, and that's
he
has money who gets him able, but Ruffalo doesn't have that, and then it doesn't actually show. He might have just given one diamond.
Right, he had like 6 or something.
He could have kept a lot of them for himself. But my biggest question is, and for you guys, if you stole diamonds, how are we getting the money out of them?
I think you got to go overseas, or you got to get into the black market.
You got to go underground, man. You got to find that black market.
I feel like
you could sprinkle them over my food.
Just slowly ingest them.
Yeah,
that's one way to do it.
Not gonna be worth as much after you poop them out.
Yeah,
that's probably fair.
No, actually, I think they keep their value. I don't think your digestive system is going
to sway potential buyers.
Yeah, so I mean, the ending was I was lukewarm on it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'll admit.
I was very cold on it. All right, so I've got one question. I think this is my last serious question. So after this one, if you guys want to start throwing things my way, I'm very open to it. But we get a bank robbery scene in this movie, and it's intense because it's kind of a
jewelry shop.
The jewelry shop. Yeah. Jewelry store. My apologies. But again, Orman breaks in on his motorcycle. This was supposed to be Mike's job and no violence, but obviously Orman's a wild card. He goes in doing it all crazy. He gets whatever he was supposed to get, but then he goes back for seconds. He can't get out of the building. He's stumbling all over himself. This wasn't a smooth bank robbery scene at any point. We've seen awesome bank robbery scenes in movies. Heat, Point Break, etc. What do you guys think? The Town. I was thinking this movie Bandits. It had Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton in it. We'll talk about it here in a second. But what did you guys think about this as a Dog Day Afternoon? I love that. As a bank robbery scene, is this gonna stick in your mind long term, or was this such a fumble on the actor's, or not the actor, but the character's part, that it wasn't as badass as you wanted?
I mean, I think it fits within the parameters of this movie. Yeah.
Sure.
Because it just highlights what a fucking wild card lunatic this guy is. It also goes back to my point of shocking lack of police presence. This is going on for quite some time.
Yeah.
He gets away scot-free. Also, like after the first heist, why was Chris Hemsworth driving like such a lunatic. No one was chasing him.
No.
He was
In a
driving like
Chrysler 300.
yeah, he was driving like he was being chased, in hot pursuit, and it's like, bro, nobody knows.
Yeah, you're drawing more attention to yourself now.
Right, like the only and then you hit somebody. So, anyways, but that scene, I did think it was pretty memorable just because of how chaotic it was, and there was a little bit of humor in there with the baby and him being like mad.
Shut the baby up.
And then take care of your baby as he's like running away. It's kind of funny.
No, it fits in the whole. It fits in the arc of the movie. The whole point of that scene is not to be a smooth fucking robbery, because the whole point is Mike's really fucking, or James Davis is really fucking good at his job, and this other fucking clown is terrible and does everything wrong and is only going to bring attention and is definitely going to get caught eventually if he tries to rob someone again with a stupid fucking motorcycle helmet and his motorcycle. That's the whole point, is that this guy is a fucking dumbass and he's much worse at his job than Mike. So it is it as good of a fucking robbery scene as some other movies? No, but that's not the point. The point is this guy's fucking terrible, and he should not be doing the job that Davis should be doing.
And then money should not be giving away these jobs
exactly to this fucking clown.
Because it's Mike's job. Yeah.
But give me one badass scene, heist scene. I mean, we got the one at the beginning, and that was, like you said, Keith.
The scene that's not a heist scene that I did think was interesting, that I kind of like, but I also don't like, is when Davis sees Barry Keoghan on his bike outside the apartment, and now we've got the chase. And then Ormond runs into a car on his bike, and then he goes into the fucking liquor store, gas station, whatever it was, and he and fucking Mike kind of somewhat beats his ass.
Not really.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him just pummel that motherfucker right then and there. Yeah. Just put him to bed, be done with him at that.
It was amazing when he hit that car and flipped over.
That was beautiful.
Did you guys see the driver of the car? It was so clearly a CGI fake person. It was like, if someone hit your car, go. If you are listening to this episode and you haven't watched it, keep your eye out for it. It was so bad. You would expect, like in old movies, when someone would get their car crashed into, you'd get the scene where the guy would open the driver door, get out and go, "Hey, what's going on here?" And that just never happened in this movie. I don't know. I give that guy a acting
that credit. That chase was pretty cool though. I was into that.
I did. Especially when Ormond he cuts through a certain place, and then Hemsworth fucking goes and meets him and comes right back behind it. That was a great fucking. I did enjoy that chase scene. Again, I wanted more from it somehow, but it was also really good. And I also liked that he didn't fully kill him, because that's his MO, but it should have been a bit more of a fucking ass beating.
Rough him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. My last question, and you guys again can throw whatever you want at me. There was a video game controller in this movie. Did you guys see the video game controller, and do you know what console it was from? A company paid money so you guys would catch it, and you guys didn't catch it.
I feel like I did, but now I'm not remembering.
It was when Chris Hemsworth he was like looking over the note from Maya, and he was holding a PlayStation 5 controller for some reason in his hand. Okay. Yeah, I figured it was just such kind of a strange product placement. It never showed him playing on the TV, nothing, or him holding it, in like anything. It was just kind of weird. All right, that's all I got. You guys got anything you want to mention before we move on to the financials?
I do want to talk a little bit more about the Maya situation, the girlfriend.
Okay.
Mainly, well, two parts. One, how they meet. She rear ends.
She crashes into him.
Just
that's sexist, dude.
And it's an elite meet cute situation. Loved it.
I mean, yeah.
He's so awkward. He's like, yeah, I see. Got kids. Because she's got the fucking car seats, and then she's like, "Oh no, my boss's car. She's got twins. They're assholes." I was like, "Oh my god!"
That was good.
I think she called them pieces of shit. I can't remember. Yeah. She says something really mean about those. Yeah.
So why is that the most exciting part of the relationship? That's when it's at its best. It's all downhill from there.
Well, no, it's the whole thing is their whole relationship is like that, where it's like she is clearly amazing, very cute, very like charming, very interesting person, and he's just like, it's just pulling teeth to get the guy to say a full sentence. um and she's, but again,
He's hot.
he's very hot, and if we could have had more, it's like,
Well, so this leads to my
because he's
second part
trying,
of
right?
this.
He's trying to have some, he's trying to be a human, but he has to be guarded. And there's this push and pull there where he just can't open up even though he wants to. But then there's another part of it, like, I don't know that he is capable. He might be too socially awkward to like there were so many lines he could have busted out throughout this that were like, would have been smooth lines. I was like, dude, if I was in this guy's shoes, I would be crushing this
Killing it.
date. Like, oh my god. Yeah.
So the final part then, when she is at work and she gets the mail delivered and she opens it, it's a picture, because she's mentioned the whole time there's no pictures of you with your family, like I don't know you. So he drops the picture of him as a kid and writes on the back, and then she goes and runs. It's obviously him delivering the mail in the office. Am I wrong?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I didn't catch that.
I for sure think that he was the one dropping off the mail in the office, because it's a big, they didn't show his face, I think on purpose.
I mean, it's hard to miss a big beefcake like that. It'd be hard
exactly.
to,
And that's why I'm like, if that's him, she would have fucking seen him in the office or would have chased him
Right.
down. But I wanted more closure, Luke, you mentioned. I wanted more closure to that relationship, or at least their last meeting, their last date, when he says he has to leave and she's pushing and prodding for him to just be like, here's the deal. I'm a fucking jewel thief and I'm trying to get the fuck out. And I think I'm going to have my out here. And if you wait for me, not only can we have a real relationship, but you will be rich beyond your wildest dreams. You can quit your job. Like that would have been, and then after he gets let go, he's driving, he pulls off to the side of the road, and then he turns around,
he turns back
down to 101 and says LA 357 miles. It would have been nice to see him go back to her. They finally meet. He confesses everything and says,
and the note says, I hope it's not too late. And it's like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah. And again,
where are we going here?
Part of another plot hole is like, and I think about this a lot in movies, especially if you've only known someone for like a few dates, a month, is it even worth like getting that upset about being that,
Well, Keith, you gotta think these people are at least in their 30s in LA. It's hard to meet people, man. It's hard to meet people. It's hard to meet somebody who's normal.
It's hard to find love. So when you find it, you got to go for it. There you go.
I just watched the scene. I don't think it was Chris Hemsworth that dropped off the stuff.
But
why did Chris Hemsworth give Cop Lou the car, the green car at the end? They never had a conversation about liking cars.
No, they did in the car. In the car, he the cop asks. I think the cop Ruffalo asks him, "Do you like cars?" And then they're talking, and Hemsworth says, "Yeah, do you like cars?" And they says, "Yeah,
they had a whole
Mustang." And they talk about the old movies. And Ruffalo's trying to get him to like kind of give away that he's a thief, and that's why he mentions The Quick and the Dirty or whatever the fucking movie was. So yeah, they totally had a fucking conversation about cars, and that's why he gives him the car. Did you watch the movie, Lane?
I was all the way
it doesn't
out
seem
at
like
this
you
point.
watched the movie.
Were you paying attention one bit?
I was all the way out at this point.
It seems like you were probably on your phone for most of this movie.
I don't get on my phone for the movie. Let the record show. But I hated it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's throw it to our money man. I should have left the name for you, Lucas. I apologize. I stole your swag. The money man, Lucas Walker, please, on this streaming movie, try your best to make the dollars make sense.
So I don't know that this was really a streaming movie. It appears that it had a full theatrical release. Did not obviously spend a lot of its budget on marketing. However, because I had never heard of it until I saw it on the Amazon Prime thing. Anyways, estimated budget of $90 million, which is not really a surprising budget for given the, kind of the star power that we had and some of the kind of things that are going on in this movie. So 90 million is not crazy high, but it's obviously not low. the opening weekend in the United States and Canada, which was the weekend just after Valentine's Day, it looks like in February, so about 2 months ago. Opening weekend, it did a little over 14 million. So I think on a $90 million budget, 14 million for the opening weekend for a movie that nobody's ever heard of. Actually, I thought it was pretty good. However, gross worldwide is just about 73 million. So a loss of $17 million as far as budget to box office. However, this movie is, now streaming. It's available to all Amazon Prime members, so it's part of Amazon Prime's free library of movies. I don't know what that means as far as money to the studio. It's an Amazon. It was an Amazon studio. Amazon MGM Studios was the production company. So I don't know. It's basically now their property, and so they'll make money off of it somehow. But I'm gonna go ahead with a C- as the grade here because it lost money in the box office, and I bet if anything, it's like a break-even movie. At best, it's kind of break-even-ish.
To be fair to the marketing team, I did see advertisements or something about it.
I might have seen one.
I had heard of it at least.
I had seen like Halle Berry doing some promotional stuff. That's how you market.
I hadn't heard of it
days.
Until 5 minutes before I suggested that we do it for the podcast. So,
is you put your character, your main actors on podcasts, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck before The Rip came out. They did the podcast circuits.
Sure.
Yep. And I think that's how you do it these days. The only people who are watching TV to get trailers on TV are sports fans.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like they should be advertising on UFC and the NFL playoffs and March Madness and NBA. Like if they had been advertising on those events, I would have known about this movie.
Sure, which maybe should have done because the goddamn NBA playoffs are on Amazon Prime, which is probably why we know all about that balls movie. Okay. I just cracked open a Sydney Beer Co. lager.
I'm gonna open up my third one here.
Atta boy, Keith.
Let's go down pretty smooth.
Oh, is it time for me to get thirsty?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, boys, I'm thirsty. I'm fiending. I've had a couple of these lagers. I'm going to learn about them. I'm going to pull up a fucking stool. I'm going to go to my favorite barkeep in the world, Mr. Lane Good. I'm going to go to the beer corner. Hit me with what you got.
Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the beer corner. I read off of the box. We had some fun. Gave off a very Australian vibe. And again, the reason I picked this beer is because of our man, Chris Hemsworth, who I thought was very boring in this movie, is from Australia. I guess he's from Melbourne, is what a quick Google search told me.
Melbourne.
There you go. But this is obviously Sydney Beer Co. Coming in at 5.2% ABV. I jumped on the internet and I did a quick Google search as I always do for the podcast, and I typed in Sydney Beer Co. lager. Not a lot popped up on the internet. I did get a news article here from Food and Beverage Magazine. Sydney Beer Co. brings its Australian lager to the United States. That's exciting. A premier Australian brand proudly announces the U.S. launch of its flagship lager. Here's a plot hole for you. This exciting debut marks the first time in over 50 years that an Australian beer has been available in the United States. Foster's, right? Am I crazy?
I don't know that Foster's is actually Australian, though.
I mean, it says Foster's Australian for beer. That was like their whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
Wisconsin.
They bring their beer. Well, okay, great. Which brings me to my next point. We might have. Sydney Beer Co. is thrilled to bring its authentic recipe stateside, brewing under the expertise of master brewer Dan Gordon. We really enjoy the challenge as well as the results. Sydney Lager paired perfectly with our capabilities, blah, 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 blah. Associated with the brand Down Under, said Dan Gordon of Gordon Biersch Brewery. So digging further into it, I looked at the bottom here. SydneyBeerCo.com, brewed and packaged by Sydney Beer Co., San Jose, California. Sons of bitches.
I feel. I
go here, visit more information.
Yeah.
Betrayed, right?
I feel
it's
betrayed.
Just like the movie,
for sure.
Stabbed us in the heart.
Yeah.
For more information, go to Sydney Beer Co. and
but...
products. Visit its website. So I click on the website, and let me tell you, boys, as the internet says, nothing. Awesome site in the making. So I'm smelling a big conspiracy theory here. They sold us Australia and they gave us San Jose, California. So I am a little disappointed there. But that is the beer corner.
That seems to be a theme in the beer world. One of our favorites, Kona Brewing Company, is actually, I think we touched on this in an earlier episode of a beer and review, is brewed in Oregon, which is definitely not Hawaii.
Nearly the anti.
You're pretty good at geography.
Beer.
Yeah.
You gotta sell beer. You gotta try to get unique with it. So
yeah.
You gotta do what you can. And they sold us
in China. I mean, it's an American company. It's what they do. You got to find the cheapest way to make fucking stuff. Cheapest.
What I will say about this beer, though, although it has betrayed us,
and it's not betrayed my cheat,
has not betrayed my taste buds.
You liking it, huh?
This is wonderful.
Well, let's get.
What are you thinking on a scale of 1 to 10, huh?
This is an easy 9.5 for your boy.
Whoa!
Easy. It's just a touch above or a touch under, a tier under, like a perfect beer, but I have no complaints. It's light. It's got a great taste. It's fantastic. What do you want me to say? It's amazing beer.
It's not very often. You said you just cracked open your third. You don't drink 3 beers on the pod very often.
No, I've been kind of going 2-1 occasionally. This is actually the first time I've had any alcohol since I had a mimosa during the Masters with my father 6 days ago. And I'm going to be drinking some of these tomorrow as well. I'll tell you that.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Keith, what did you think about Sydney Beer Co. Lager?
I did enjoy it. Maybe not as much as Lucas. I'm coming more around to the lighter beers. We Lane, you and I are both more of the IPA type guys. Luke used to be more of an IPA type guys. In my older age here, I am also finding that IPAs and the heavier beers do a little more damage to me than I'd like. So I've been going more for the lighter beers. This is a really good one. I think I have definitely talked multiple times in this podcast how many light beers taste like piss water. This does not at all. Tastes really good. It was interesting when I took the first sip of my first one. I almost thought it was kind of a sour taste, but I did not feel that the rest of the way. It's a good lager. I won't say it blew my socks off, but it's a good solid beer. I'll give it an 8. I enjoyed it. I look forward to drinking more.
I think you boys are all on the right path here. It's hard to rate a beer badly. We have done it before, but not this one. This one's awesome.
If it isn't a fruity type beer, I'm usually going to give it a pretty good grade.
Yeah, there's a pretty high floor. Yeah,
we might have to start doing some of those kind of crazy, unique beers. Since Luke got off the IPAs, we're limiting ourselves.
Yeah, maybe I'm a sour guy.
We need to try maybe some sours and some fruits. We'll get into them.
A blueberry, something or other.
Yep.
Gross.
They've got like pickle beers. We could.
They do.
Fun.
God.
Yep. I'm going to squeeze right between you two gentlemen here. I'm going to go a 9. I think this is amazing beer. Again, I said it is coming in at 5.2%, so stronger than your piss water beers that you mentioned, Keith. It has some flavor. It's crisp. There was a beer we did recently that had a light beer that just had an aftertaste that was a little funky. I didn't like. This doesn't have that. It's smooth. It's just begging to be drank. I'm going to give it a 9. And I will say that out of all the reviews, this is the 4th episode of year 5. This is my highest reviewed beer of the season. Cheers.
Cheers to
There
that.
you go. Cheers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you ready to play America's favorite game?
It's time for America's favorite game. Let's play Rotten Guesses.
I'm going to share the screen here just because I want you to, feel good about yourself, Keith. You missed an episode, but you have been on 2 so far this season, and you have won, 3 out of the 4 categories on the times that you've been here. So you've been doing very well so far this season on a beer and review. Lucas, not the best, but this is your chance to make up for it. I'm going to have Lucas.
Some tough movies.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, can I?
I'm going to let you go first here.
I want to guess Armageddon, but I don't want to derail the show. Okay.
That'll be our post-credit scene.
Okay, I'm down for that. I am going to go with a critical score of 76. I think that the acting chops will get this movie, a little bit of respect. I think there were some good things that this movie did. So we'll go 76 for the critics. I think the audience will be a decent bit higher. I'm going to go with an 84 for the audience, the popcorn meter. 76, wow. 84.
Oh man, you guys are going to be so mad at me here in a few minutes. Keith, what do you think?
One, the fact that this came out in theaters and did not get much hype from that makes me wonder. It makes me think the critics aren't very high. But I do think it'll be a decent number. I'll go the critics like a 67. The audience, it's tricky when we have these movies that I know Lane is going to hate because he's an audience member. And if Lane hates it, that means it might be a very small portion.
Let's not pretend like Lane is representative of the population.
No, he's not representative of a whole audience because there's obviously Lane has terrible movie taste. But that means that there is a portion of audiences that may dislike it. Again, I always seem to think that audiences like movies more than critics, so I'm going to go like a 72 for the audience.
72.
Not varying too much there, but
Keith, I think you're more in the ballpark than Luke. I think, Luke, you're high on your guesses. I'm going to kind of spitball around Keith's area. I'm going to be lower than most, but I'll just go 65, 65 and just kind of bunt here.
Oh, that's
65, 65.
All right, boys. We'll go ahead and highlight mine, Lane. Thank you for the easy victory here. You guys are bozos. We have a tomato meter, which actually I'm a bit surprised here on the tomato meter, of an 88.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. They just handed out
88 from the critics, a tomato meter with 191 reviews. So I got you guys on that one pretty easily. And then a popcorn meter, the people, over 1,000 verified reviews, an 85. So I was only one away. 88, 85 was the correct scores. I am surprised that the critics came in higher than the audience. I thought this was more of a people pleaser than a critical,
darling.
Critical type of a darling. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty wild. I would not have guessed.
I
would not have guessed that high, but that's pretty surprising.
I'm surprised at how high the tomato meter is. The popcorn meter doesn't surprise me a lot. I think that's right in the wheelhouse. Yeah, but 88's a bit high.
So here's the best part, guys. I am going to have a much lower score than you guys on this movie, but since I'm hosting, I get to say who speaks last. So I'm going to
Okay.
let Lucas speak first because I'm sure you will be the highest on this movie, and then we're going to progressively shit on it until the end of the episode. Lucas, what did you think of Crime 101?
I'm going to give it an 8.1. I like this movie.
Wow.
I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was awesome. I thought, like, as we talked through it, and it's easy to, I think, when we talk through these movies and we pick it to pieces over an hour conversation, it's easy to change your perception and kind of lower your perception because we pick so many holes in it. But I have to be true to how I felt watching the movie, and I was really enjoying the movie while I watched it. I thought it was cool as shit. It was, attractive people, attractive visuals, LA, cool shit happening. I really like the procedural aspect of the actual crimes that were going on. Barry Keoghan doing his fucking lunatic shit, Nick Nolte being a psycho, Halle Berry just being fucking awesome, Chris Hemsworth, this movie was pretty awesome. There were some very significant plot holes, as we've discussed. The ending, I wasn't thrilled about the ending. I was really enjoying it until the ending. I kind of was like, eh. There was points in the movie where I was definitely thinking about some of the greats, the Heats and the Towns and the things like that, and I was trying to think to myself, like, what is it about this movie that is just a touch? It's not quite those, right? And how could we get there? And then I did, kind of have the thing in my head about, like, man, if this was a 6 or 8 episode mini series that we could flesh out what this movie is trying to do more fully, this would be a better product. Because there was a really good movie in this movie. There was a much better movie somewhere in there that was not fully fleshed out. But I can't pretend like I didn't really enjoy it while I was watching it. So 8.1.
Keith, what did you think about Crime 101?
Yeah, I mean, Luke said it. The overarching thought on this movie is that there was it had the potential to be really fucking good, even a great movie. And especially after that first scene, I was getting excited, and then the rest of the way, it just kind of, like we talked about, a lot of things that didn't add up. Could have cut a lot of stuff. Not as much action as you would like, as I would like. At least I was entertained. I did feel that Halle Berry's character was not even unnecessary, just maybe misused. But I did like it. It was good. It just had a lot of potential that was untouched. I'm trying to think of a sports comparison, but I don't think that I can at this moment on a whim. I'm going to give it like a 7.1. It was good. It was good. I enjoy it.
This is a Danilo Gallinari type of a movie for you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's call
You're
it
going to
that.
shit all over
No
Danilo.
Let's go that. Like, Ben Simmons is the epitome of
That's a good
high
one too.
potential fucking being terrible. It was not that. Yeah, 7.1. It was good. It was good, but it could have been way better.
Gentlemen, we now get to my favorite part of the episode where I am going to shit all over this movie. I thought it sucked so bad. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's too long. If you're going to make your movie be that long, be serious. Nick Nolte was terrible when he gets all mad. He's like, "Rah, rah, rah." He just sucked ass. I didn't care about any of the characters. I thought they were all. I didn't care about any of these people. I hated most of what I was watching. You guys mentioned it. There is a good or great or whatever movie here somewhere. It's not this. This is a waste of 2 hours and 20 minutes. If you want to watch a movie that's like this, watch Heat. Heat is a much
Which you also did not give a good score to, but sure.
Sure. I did give it a higher score than I'm going to give this. So again, let the audience know that these types of movies again are not necessarily for me, but there are so many movies that do this so much better. I'm going to pull up for you gentlemen and the audience so you don't get too mad at me as I give this review. My words that I use to describe these movies right here. Okay. This movie's not a masterpiece. This movie's not amazing. It's not great. It's not good. It's not okay. So that takes out 6 and above for me. This movie is bad at best. This movie is terrible. I'm going to go so far as to say that this movie is infuriating me because there is a much better movie here. So I'm going to say, for me, and based off of those words, that this movie is a 3.9. There was a good movie in here, and they shit all over my time. And
that's terrible.
They shit all over me. It was,
you know how I said earlier that when I'm taking in the audience's thoughts, that there's probably some audience members out there that are like Lane. There's not. You're the only fucking idiot.
You're one of a kind.
You're one of a kind, dude. You're so dumb. What are you? This is not a terrible movie. You're fucking kidding me?
You're right. It was infuriating.
It's not infuriating. It's not anything. Like, it's a good movie. You're a fucking moron.
I think you might, of everybody who's ever watched this movie, you might be the lowest score. I would love to poll, the 100,000 people who've watched this movie, and I can't imagine anybody gives it a lower score than you did.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching episode 124 of A Beer and Review. This is why we do it, gentlemen, because we get to have conversations like this, and we forever alter our opinion of each other based off our movie tastes.
I continue to learn that you're an idiot.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week on an episode of A Beer and Review, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
A reluctant cheers from the boys.